Now, this is not a new concept, but there was a really, really interesting piece in the Washington Post about immigrants. Now, they don't delineate between illegal and legal, which I love to do, but this is not that particular. We're not really talking about that right now, but people who come into the country, foreigners who now live here legally or otherwise, sending money back home to their countries of origin. Now, this is a thing, we've all known that this happens, but the rate that it's happening is increasing, and it's increasing rapidly. From January to March, relative to equivalent periods of time in other years, remittance to El Salvador shot up 14%, remittance to Honduras went up 20%, and Guatemala 21%. In other words, in this brief time period, especially since President Trump took office, more and more people from other countries are sending their money back to those other countries. And what's even more fascinating about that, and again, I wish, or at least I hope someone digs into, are we talking about legal or illegal, or what are we talking about here? But just overall, what is even more fascinating is this statistics. Immigrant cash transfers rose from 10% of the Central American region's GDP in 2010. In other words, 13% of the entire GDP of the region in 2010 was American money going there. It rose from 10% in 2010 to 23% last year. In other words, it doubled over 15 years. And we're not talking about, the amount of money, the percentage of money. We're talking about the overall GDP. In other words, a fifth of the entire economy of Central America is money from here to there. Whether or not that's a good idea remains to be seen. I tend to say no, and I especially want to figure out if we're talking what percentage of this is illegals sending money abroad back to where they came from. Wow, here to talk about that and so much more is political commentator Lily Kate and senior fellow at the American Principles Project, Paula Scanlon. Guys, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Lily, I'll start with you here. What is going on, especially why the uptick, do you think, in recent months of people saying, oh, shoot, I got to send more money back home? And again, we can probably leave the overall conversation of whether or not this should happen. It does happen. Regardless of what you think about it, it does happen. But why is there this drastic increase?
Well, it's one word. It's Trump. Because immigrants are not coming into the country anymore to seek economic opportunity. So therefore, they have to resort to, if they're already here, make as much money as they can and send it back to their families. Most illegal immigrants around the world and the ones who have come here all believe that America is simply just their own cash cow, that they can come and just suck it dry from all the money and all the cash that it has because the US dollar is so dominant on the world stage. And now they have a choice. They can either go back or wait till ICE deports them or start sending money back. And I think a lot of them are choosing to send money back to their families because that's the only thing they want to do is suck America dry of all its cash.
Paula, the statistic at the end blew my mind. A fifth of the entire region's GDP in Central America is from cash going out of the United States and to there. And that's not the only case, right? There are tons of countries around the world where a huge proportion of their GDP is made up of cash sent from the United States back there. How many countries around the world do we support in this way, not including money that they were getting through USAID, money that they were getting in terms of foreign assistance? Like, are we just like so big and powerful that every single country in the world depends on us?
No, exactly that. I mean, I think I've heard stories of immigrants that come to this country and they are funding their entire family. And it's not just their immediate family. They're funding like their distant cousins and relatives from their American salary, doing every job here, taking as much money as they can, taking as many jobs, getting as many free handouts as they can in this country. And that is a common thing that we see from immigrants, not even just from Central America, but I think from all over. This is a very common thing I hear in Asia. I mean, I had family that immigrated here from Asia as well. And a lot of them, they came over and they were sending their salaries over because the place that gives them the most money is this country. And I think what it shows, and the one thing I will say about this, it probably shouldn't be happening. We need to think about our citizens first. But what I will say is America is a great country, and any leftist that wants to say that we're a disgusting, horrible country and they don't want to be here, there are quite literally billions of people that want to live in this country and the opportunities that we have here. And I think that is forgotten. And I think that just proves exactly that.
Yeah, this country is so bad and awful and terrible that everyone around the world wants to come here and work so that they can be able to send money home.